Hi, I'm Cindi McGee. Today I'm using items from the Bead Bounty CreateAlong Box to create a few pair of fun and funky earrings. I'm trying to mimic the color in the sari ribbon that came with this month's box for the purple shade, so I'm mixing some ultramarine blue hue and purple Primo Sculpey. I want to custom mix some paint to use to silkscreen, and I'm using DecoArt Dazzling Metallics Festive Red, which is a little brighter than what I want for my purpose, so I'm mixing in some of the bronze to create a darker, more matching red to that sari ribbon that came in the kit. I've rolled out the blended purple and blue clay to a setting number 5 on the clay machine, and now I'm ready to silkscreen. I'm using the screen that came in the Bead Bounty kit, and you want to place your screen with the colored side down against the clay sheet, and then screen with your paint, and then immediately wash your silk screen so that it's ready to use next time. Next, I conditioned and rolled some cadmium red hue Primo Sculpey to a setting 5 on the clay machine. And I'm going to use the shimmery orange mica powder that came in this month's box and add a layer of it over the surface of the clay sheet. This will make this cadmium red hue clay very similar in shade to the color of the sari ribbon. I'm going to be using one of the deco discs that came in this month's box to texture the clay. When using a deco disc, you want to use a release agent. You can use water or cornstarch or mica powder. So in this case, I'm using the mica powder so that it will match the surface of the clay. I find it easier if I pick up my sheet of clay and use my fingers to impress the image into the clay, and you get a great raised textured image. Do this several times so that I have different pieces to work with. I just want this single edge decoration for what I'm creating. Next, use the clay blade to cut strips around the textures. Just go to each edge of the texture that you chose and cut 4 strips. I'm using cutters from the Egyptian collar graduated set from CreateAlong to cut my earring shapes. Now that my silk screened image is dry, I went ahead and used the cutters to cut the shapes that I wanted. Then I cut sections of those strips that we made and placed them on top of the chunkier pieces of earring. I also cut 2 small pieces of the strips with the same cutter I used for the longer earrings, and I'm going to use these as where I will mount the posts for these earrings. Then I baked them according to the manufacturer's instructions and let them cool. At this point I decided I wanted to go in a little bit different direction with one pair, so I'm using a slightly smaller cutter from that same collection, and I'm going to just cut smaller pieces from one set of these earrings. Then I'm going to bake all of it according to the manufacturer's instructions and let it cool. For the 2 largest, or chunky as I call them, earrings, I'm going to make some embellishments to hang them from the earring wires. And I'm using gold eye pins, and I cut little bits of the sari ribbon and folded it onto the eye pin. And then I added 5 of these beautiful sparkly beads that came in this month's box to each one and created a loop at the end. I made 2 of these. I painted the backs of all the pieces with a thin coat of that same blended metallic paint and let it dry, and then it was the time to assemble everything. For the hoops, I added 3 of the pretty blue beads that came with the box on either side of the smaller of the wide pieces. I drilled small holes in the tops of each of them after they were baked, and then added those to the hoops. And then for the larger, wider, or chunkier, as I call them, ones, I'm using those embellishments that I made with the sari ribbon and beads to suspend them from the earring wires. For the long, narrow earrings, I am adding post backs to the textured red clay pieces that I made, and then adding a small piece of clay to the back and baking them again before assembling those. I hope you enjoyed this project made with items from the Bead Bounty CreateAlong Box. Remember to share your versions in our Polymer Clay Tribe Facebook group.